Welcome to Monologues by Hassie, where I'm going to be dropping unsolicited brain dumps from the depths of my grey matter. I'll talk about life, money, society, and self-development, plus whatever else lies up there, whilst hopefully not getting cancelled in the process. Earlier this week, I was attending a 3-day project management course, and the reason I do things like this from time to time is I take my personal and professional development very seriously. Now, doing a course like this doesn't come cheap. As far as corporate training goes, this was on the lower side, so in Australian dollars, I spent $1,900, and in addition to that, I booked a hotel for the 3 days I was doing the course. Reason being, I said that, well, if I'm going to spend 3 days doing this, I want to make sure I'm well rested. I don't want to be late. I don't want to be rushing and worrying about things that I can't control, like the public transport network and all the issues that it has had in Sydney lately. And I'd rather just be close by so I can go to the course, do my stuff, and rather than being exhausted from the commute, which I often am, I would rather invest that time in revising that material and working on my own things. So I spent an extra $600 in getting in a hotel to cover me for those days. So altogether, I spent something like $2,500, which isn't, it's not a small sum of money. And one of the things I realized having invested, a decent amount of money into attending this course is not everyone in that course had the same attitude I did. And generally, when you go to these courses, it is what you put in is what you get out. And one thing I've noticed, not only at this course, but previous courses I've done before, is there are people who clearly do not want to be there. And there's a very good reason why. Because they are at these courses free. And when it comes to our learning journeys, some people are given the privilege of attending courses that are free to them. And by what I mean free, it's free in terms of the money they need to spend. But these courses have been subsidized by their organizations. The companies they are part of have paid for them. And they may not have been willing participants. It might have been the end of financial year and there was a bit of money left over, so they got signed up to something. And you can really tell that their attitude is off. And I remember this one person at this project management course was complaining to the instructor and obviously occupying the class's time, asking about whether we could move when the coffee was going to be delivered from 12 to 10:30. Now, obviously that's a reasonable request. Most people drink coffee in the morning. But imagine if you've just spent close to $2,000 on this 3-day course and your primary concern is about when coffee is going to be delivered to you. What kind of mindset does that represent? And I think what this is, it's the cost of doing things for free. Because nothing in life is free, right? If something appears to be free, there is a cost, but all it means is that we as individuals have not recognized what that cost is. If you get a free cup of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, yes, you paid no money for it, but you may have had to give away your attention, your time, and potentially even your health. And the goal for them is you become a recurring customer, so you will give them your money in the future. So nothing is truly free. But when it comes to education specifically, I've seen many people fall into this trap. And in this particular case, the person who was complaining about their coffee at this course, where we were meant to be learning about project management and learning how to do that better, they weren't a young person. They were probably in their 30s or 40s. So it wasn't an age thing. But I remember when I was studying for my Diploma of Database Design and Development at TAFE, for those of you from other parts of the world, something like a community or a technical college. I remember there was an 18-year-old student and, probably just out of high school. And we were all sitting in this class and it was day one and we were learning a language called SQL, which you use to query databases. And we were just discussing how we all ended up on this course, and there was me and a few other mature age students. And I was saying that, look, there was a good deal. I kind of fitted in the age range where I'm only paying $4,000 for this whole diploma, and that's a great price, and it really was a great price. And I remember the 18-year-old saying, well, I got an even better price because I'm under 25 years old. For me, this is free because I'm just out of high school. And I said, yes, it's free for you, but I'm going to bet you that because I'm at least paying something for this course, I'm going to get more value out of it. And the reason I'm going to get more value out of it is because I'm putting something up. I know I'm adding to my debt, something that I'm going to have to pay off. And the thing is, I ended up being right. By the time I got to the end of that year, I knew that a lot of these people who were coming straight out of high school, this wasn't everyone, but some of them, they really did take the opportunity they had for granted. And I have no doubt that part of that reason is because it was free. Now, my argument isn't that education should be prohibitively expensive so people value it, but it's that when we do receive something for free, at least, at face value, then we need to recognize that we are still exchanging our time and we are still exchanging our attention. And I think if we can develop gratitude, you can overcome the costs of free. And it's very important. And in that case of that 18-year-old who took their education for granted because it was free or they didn't inherently notice the cost, part of the reason for them not valuing that opportunity, and mind you, this was at TAFE, a technical college, was perhaps a lot of their friends from high school went to university. And going to somewhere like TAFE straight out of high school isn't seen as prestigious because there are status games amongst people of all demographics, but especially when you're out of high school. So if you felt like you didn't get enough marks to get into university, you might be wondering what you're doing wasting your time in TAFE. But the irony was, at the same course that 18-year-old might have been taking for granted was a 25-year-old who'd already finished 2 degrees, who was now doing this course to help change careers, and who saw inherently more value in it. And that person was me. So really, the moral of all these stories, the person complaining about the coffee or the 18-year-old taking their free course for granted, is if we are fortunate enough to receive educational or experiential ways of learning for free, and it might be an internship or a job at a company where you've been given a great position, or your company might have a learning and development budget which they're going to allow you the opportunity to go buy some course materials or do a course. Do not take it for granted just because you have not paid for it. In fact, develop gratitude for the material that you are receiving from the instructors who are teaching you, and think about how that can impact your life. With something like project management, it's not just a technical skill. And one of the simplest takeaways that I took from that 3-day course is everything in our life is a project. And whenever I do a course, I always find parallels and something that I can draw into my life, which is going to improve the way I work, and it generally improves my personal life as well. So my prompt to all of you is, what do you think you're receiving for free? And have a think about what the actual cost is. And when you acknowledge that cost, have a think about what benefits can you get from that learning that you are doing. And with that, I'll end there, and I wish everyone listening to this great success on all your endeavors. You've just made it through another episode of Monologues by Hassie. It brings me great pleasure to know that you made it to the end. To listen to more episodes, subscribe on your favorite podcast app or visit monologuesbyhassie.com. Thanks for swinging by.